We are here with Michael from Zephyr Wargames with his very first deck profile for the Zephyr Wargames YouTube channel. Michael, what are you showing us today?
I'm showing you Shiranui Zombies. This is the build I've been working with. It's been testing quite well out for me, and been working it, and I think I finally found a build that I'm happy with. So I'm just going to go ahead and get straight into it. I'm going to explain card choices as I go along. So first up we have 3 Goblin Zombie. The Searcher of the deck, I'm running 3 because you want to see this card as soon as possible. It helps you get to your plays, helps you get cards back when you do your Synchro Summon, and it's really good for advancing your game state. Next up we have 3 Mizuki, obviously it's standard. Absolutely amazing card. Can't believe this card was limited at one point. Very, very useful for just banishing, getting back your zombies, and towards the end of the video, I'm going to talk about a few combos involving this card. Next up, 2 Zombie Master. I've seen a few people going with 3, but I have to admit that 2 has the right number for me because first off, it's really searchable, and of course you can easily recycle it via Mizuki, so 2's been working just fine for me. Next up, one of the main engines of the deck is Uni Zombie. For those of you who don't know, when you summon Uni Zombie, you can increase its level by 1, or any monster on the field, including itself, by 1, by discarding a card. And another ability, which you can do on the same turn, is send a zombie from your deck to the grave, such as Mizuki, to increase another monster on the field by 1 level or itself. However, if you do this, only zombies can attack for the rest of the turn. So this is the main way that you get your plays going. It's a card you want to see as soon as possible, because I've seen the deck does have a great deal of reliance on its tuners. But as I said, I'll talk about a few combos with this card later on in the video. Next up, 1 Plague Spreader. Pretty standard. I don't want to focus too much on the monsters, try to keep it to a minimum, so I felt like 1 was all that was needed for it. This might seem a bit weird, but I'm also running 1 Beast of the Pharaoh. For those of you who don't know, when I Synchro Summon using this card as a Synchro Material monster, I get to revive a zombie-type monster from my graveyard, including itself. So it opens up quite a few plays, allows you, pretty much sets you up for the next Synchro Summon right after you perform one. And there is a combo involving this card, which I'll explain later. For the Shiranui engine, I'm running 1 Spectral Sword and 2 Spirit Master. Spirit Master is the one you will see the most of in these types of builds. When it's normal summoned, it allows you to summon a Shiranui monster from your grave or hand. And however, should that monster go to the grave, it would get banished. And when this card is banished, it destroys a face-up card your opponent controls, so very useful. And what Shiranui Spectral Sword does is you can banish it and another zombie monster from your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, to Synchro Summon a zombie-type Synchro Monster from your extra deck. So it's very useful, very good for getting your plays going, and also allowing you to playing around Uni Zombie's ability. I'll explain why I haven't used a larger engine as I go further into the video. And the last of the monsters is 2 Maxi. For the spells, I'm running 2 copies of Zombie World. I was running this at 3 for the longest time, but I just felt that 2 was I felt like 2 was just right, because a lot of times you would get the Zombie World in your hand when you really didn't have any play to make, so I felt that only 2 was enough. Reason I'm running this is allows you to bypass Uni Zombie's second ability, so that every monster you control becomes a zombie-type monster, so all of them can attack, and basically there is no downside to you going to your Synchro Summons a bit prematurely. And also has some applications against the newly released Monarchs, allowing you, because it stops only monsters that both players can attribute summon zombie-type monsters, so this is really good for stopping those. Next up, playing 2 Twin Twister. I'm running this as an alternative to MST because I just feel like the 2 for 2 trade-off is even better than it might be. Obviously, popping Pendulum Scales is really important, and the discard actually helps because it sets up your zombie master plays and putting Mizuki in the grave and things like that. Playing 2 copies of Instant Fusion, just really good for swarming the board and getting your plays going. And there's a combo involving this, which I'm going to get to a bit later. 1 copy of Book of Life. I was running this at 2 for a while, but I felt that 1 was needed. I felt like you could just run it at 1 because a lot of the decks you're seeing now are Pepe builds. and as a result, these Pepe builds don't send a great deal of monsters to the graveyard, and when they do, they're usually banished or used elsewhere. And as a result, this wasn't live for most of the time, so I just felt that one was nice. One Foolish Burial, standard. One Burial. One Regeki. And the last of my spells is 3 upstarts. And this is just to get to your plays quicker, get to your uni zombies, and get to your trap cards. And just really helps when you're side decking because you can side it out and it really won't affect your deck. And other than that, 1,000 never really mattered too much. For the trap cards, I'm running 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, 1 Torrential Tribute, 1 Solemn Warning, and then I'm also playing 3 copies of Solemn Strike. This may seem a bit excessive to most people, but I'm playing 3 copies of this because I just wanted to get to it as soon as possible. It may seem from what I've revealed so far about the Execution and the Warning that I may have a lot of cards that cost life points, but it never really comes to that because even though this seems excessive, you never get to see all of these cards in one game, and even if you do, the fact that you're only paying 1,500 life points to potentially stop a huge pendulum summon is definitely worth it. And like I said, I want to see this card as soon as possible, so I just felt I can run it at 3. You can definitely run it at 2, but 3 is preferable for me. And the last card in the main deck is Shiranui Swallow Slash. For those of you familiar with Black Wings, this is similar to Icarus Attack. You would tribute a zombie type monster to destroy 2 cards on the field. The difference is that you would then banish a Shiranui monster, from your deck. And if you're pairing this with Shiranui Spirit Master, you can then destroy an additional card in the field, which is probably the most common play you'll see when you see this trap being played. And it's just really good for getting past your opponent's board, allowing you to destroy maybe their backer and then maybe a monster or a pendulum scale. So yeah, that's just how I've been working. There is a bit of an issue with this, so you've got to try and keep your ratios to correct amount so you don't have too few in the deck, because you have to banish a Shiranui monster from your deck in order to resolve this card. So just keep that in mind. Extra deck, I'm running a 2 Norden. Of course you would need this with a 2 instant fusion. I'm running 1 copy of Revive King, and also 1 Archfiend Zombie Skull. This may seem a bit strange considering I can't fulfill the summoning requirements, but actually you have a means of summoning this thanks to Shiranui Spectral Sword, because you can banish this and a zombie type monster from your grave, a level 4 zombie obviously, to summon this card. And even though this card requires Plague Spreader, it's actually ruled that you can go for this because you're special summoning it, you're not synchro summoning it. So I just felt this card was really useful. And I also I just felt this card's effect was really useful. Protecting your zombies from card destruction is very useful in today's meta, and considering how much destruction cards are out. And obviously really like Revive King because negating your opponent's monster effects during the battle phase is really useful. So that's it for the 6s. For 7 stars, I'm running 1 Black Rose Dragon and 1 Clear Wing. Black Rose Dragon is there because with Instant Fusion Norden into Uni Zombie, you can get off a 1 card Black Rose, which is very useful, especially when you're playing against Pendulum decks, or if your opponent has set up a huge board, very useful for getting past that. I've gone for Clear Wing as opposed to some other level 7 synchros, because Clear Wing allows me, its first effect allows me to protect my other synchros with its ability to defend them from being targeted. So that's really useful, and it's just a solid card to be able to bring out when you're going for game. I'm running quite a few level 8 monsters, so I'm running 1 Void Ogre Dragon. I really like Void Ogre Dragon. It's a card which you can just sit on and sort of end with after you've gone for your battle phase, and you use your Unizombie's effect to send from deck to grave. Very useful for locking your opponent out of their plays and dodging a potential Regeki and things like that. Also running 1 Beals. I find Beals really useful because it's just one of those cards that can really help you in the Cosmo matchup, being able to clash with their Dark Destroyer or things like that. Really helps you to ensure you're getting the most out of your monsters. And other side from that, it's just a solid 3k attack and defense. 1 Crimson Blader. I've seen a lot of builds not running Crimson Blader. I'm not really sure why. Crimson Blader just allows you another means of locking your opponent out of their plays on the next turn. especially if you're facing something like perhaps Cosmo or maybe a few Pepe builds which tend to synchro summon. It just really helps, and it's also good for the rogue matchup. You never know when you might need to knock your opponent out with synchro summoning. One Shiranui Shogun Saga. I really like this card. Due to Unizombie's ability that only zombies can attack, this card allows you to bypass that ability quite nicely. And the great thing about it is when you synchro summon it, you can then banish a zombie type monster from your graveyard, and it will absorb that monster's attack points for the duration of the turn. So very useful if you want to make a big push for damage. I guess this is your ideal target to banish, would be Spirit Master, because then you get to destroy an additional card on the opponent's field, a face-up card on the opponent's field, and of course this will gain 4,500 attack for the turn, 1,500 attack for the turn, bring it up to 4,500. So it's a very useful play, especially when you're trying to deal a ton of damage in a short while. And also good if you want to try and leave a synchro monster on board to make your trap card live. Rounding off the level 8s, we have one Scarlet Dragon Archfiend. Just another staple level 8, I believe. Also useful for getting around Unizombie's ability, so if you can't attack, you can use its ability, destroy their monsters and burn them for a bit of damage. I just consider it a really necessary card, especially if you can make level 8 synchro so easily. And the last level 8 of the extra deck is Frame Lord Omega. MVP of the extra deck, I gotta say. The fact that you can use this to recycle your Mizukis and keep looping them is very, very useful. And last of the synchros, we have Trishula. I'll explain the ways you can make Trishula in this deck. It might seem a bit strange, but I'll go into that. And the only XYZs I'm running are 101 and Castell. I was really tight for space in terms of XYZs, but I felt like these were the necessary ones to run because they pretty much solve most of the problems that you might be facing with. And of course with Instant Fusion you can make this quite easily. Before I get into some of the combos, I'm going to explain why I didn't run some of the cards that I did, mainly Shiranui Smith and Shiranui Samurai. I did test out these cards, and I do love these cards to bits, but I've got to say, first up with Shiranui Smith, its ability to, when it's banished, protect your zombies from being destroyed by battle. That does seem like a really good effect, but unfortunately a lot of the times your opponent will have ways to get around that. They'll go into Castell, they'll go into 101, there's just so many ways that they could bypass that ability. So even though it's good, I decided against it. As for its second effect, which was the reason that I was running it in the first place, the fact that when you use it for a synchro summon, you could search out a Shiranui card, such as your trap card. I just felt like it was a really necessary addition to the deck, only as a one-off, but unfortunately I just found myself going for other plays. The fact that if you tribute it for Swallow Slash, you wouldn't get the ability, obviously, and a lot of the times it's difficult to synchro summon if you're really dead set on getting the effects, so I decided against it. As for Samurai, I really did love Samurai for the most part. I was testing the one copy and it was working out really well. The fact that you can banish a zombie during either player's turn, including the damage step, and having gained 600 attack, and banish whenever it battles, was really, really good, especially if the card you're banishing is a Shiranui Spirit Master from your graveyard. But unfortunately, I just found that a lot of the times I've been waiting for my combat pieces, I've been waiting for a Unizombie or a Zombie Master, and unfortunately this card sort of got in the way of those plays. So this is just personal preference, but I just decided against running the card. Alright, so now I'm going to get to some of the combos of the deck, just really quickly. The first combo is if you've opened with a Unizombie and either of these two cards in your hand, then you can make a pretty good first turn board setup. What you would do is you would normal summon Zombie Master, and assuming if one of them's in your deck and the other one's in your graveyard, what you would do is you would discard, for Unizombie's first ability, you would discard, let's say for example we had Beast of the Pharaoh in our hand, you would discard Beast of the Pharaoh to bump him up to level 4, and then you would use Unizombie's ability again to send Mizuki from the deck to the grave to bump him up to level 5. And this allows us to set you up by banishing Mizuki to resummon the Beast of the Pharaoh, and then from here you can synchro summon into Frame Lord Omega. Beast of the Pharaoh's ability is when he's used for a synchro summon, you're allowed to revive a zombie from your graveyard, including itself, but a lot of the times I opt to revive Zombie. This is good because it sets you up for the next turn, especially if you've opened with your Shiranui Star Swallow Slash, so it gives you a zombie type monster and you make that effect. And then on the following standby phase, you return the Mizuki back to your graveyard. So obviously it's a really good play. It's what I've been playing around with. It's really helped me in the first turns when you might not be a bit sure what play to make, so that's really been working out for me. A play which I've been doing actually, when I can pull it off, with Instant Fusion, is I would activate the Instant Fusion and go into Noden, and let's say for example I revive a Zombie. Then from here I can synchro summon into let's say but the great thing about this is if you have Zombie World out, you can banish Mizuki and resummon the Norden because it's treated as a zombie, and Norden will then get its effect, allowing you to then revive another monster from your graveyard. And it's just an insane ability, and it just allows you to swarm the board really quickly and just lets you get your plays going. So that's pretty much most of the plays of the deck. If you have any questions, or if you have your own builds or your own cards, your own builds of the deck, just please let us know. If you've been having success with the deck, please tell us what's been working for you. If there's anything you agree with, disagree with, by all means tell us. We'd love to hear from you. So that's for this deck profile, guys. This is Zephyr Wargames. Please, if you haven't subscribed them yet, please do so. And please stay tuned for more deck profiles and more duels.